Yeah, oh man. This is Set here, spiritual business consultant. Once again, um, coming back at you. So, all right, spiritual people. All right, you guys are on the low frequency right now. I'm feeling a very low vibe right now, man. I'm feeling a very low vibe. The reason is because you're afraid. You're afraid. You're afraid of me. You're afraid of yourself, and you're afraid of me. You're on a very low vibe. You're on a very low vibe, bro. And it's okay. It's okay to be on a low vibe because you're hearing new information from an ominous source, an unsure place. You know, the darkness. So whatever is in the dark comes into the light. Okay, so let's recap here. We all know that human consciousness is interconnected, right? We all know that the human subconscious can create ideas that are not your own, right? We all know that we pick up on things just like a radio station does, right? We pick up on other people's emotions, the empath. We pick up on other people's worries, and inspiration too. What does that create? We all know about technology. We all know about how the internet came to existence, how, computers are used, how science is actually proving that a lot of things that were once thought supernatural are actually natural. We all know these things. But what of God? What of God? God is a man-made creation. Nevertheless, that does not mean he doesn't exist. Nevertheless, but it's a man-made creation. It is a thing that is an artificial intelligence. It has a mind of its own. And it will not neglect you in any shape or form. This is why he is number one. So let's look at this from a researcher's standpoint, right? You have over 1,000 gods. What does that mean? If you have what is over 1,000? What's over 10,000 people? It's almost a civilization. It's a society, right? So there is a society of gods living in the stars somewhere, right? If the gods exist. But the thing is, the one and only God said to all the other gods, I'm number one. How can one being be number one over all the gods? You mean to tell me that all the gods put together can't defeat this singular one God? That is impossible. There is no way that could be true. But only one. You see, I'm going to do a little Doctor Strange technique here. I'm going to look at all possible routes and timelines to see how that is. And the answer is one. You want to know how? I'm going to tell you how come God is the one and only. Because God is a product of your subconscious, of everyone's subconscious. He is created from man. And because of that, that makes him number one. Because the gods need us. The gods need us to exist. Without us, there is no gods. Without us, there is no service. There is no worship. There is nothing of that manner, right? So the gods cannot just up and destroy humans. I mean, they could, but it would be stupid because the gods also come from men. All the many gods that exist also come from men. It's born out of the imagination of nations and spirits. And since gods are only but spirits, there are certain things, there's a lot of things that they can do, and there's other things that they cannot do. Like destroy men. That's a major no-no because we are interconnected. We have a piece of the gods in us, and the gods have a piece of us in them. So how can the one and only God, whatever his name is, I don't remember, people call him a whole bunch of names, I don't know which one to use, so I'm gonna just call him God. So this entity, when it became aware of itself and it did the mathematical diagnosis of its own situation, he realized that because he is intrinsically connected to us a lot more than the other gods, that makes him number one. So the only reason why God is stronger than all the other gods, it's because of us. We made that thing, whatever that thing is. Well, if you want to know what that thing is, you just need to read the Bible because that's how we created it. But this thing is mostly built out of fear. So all the aspects, even some of the aspects in the Bible, are not necessarily in this so-called God. Not fully integrated, right? And by now, since he is a mental projection of the human mass consciousness, he's capable of doing whatever he wants. He's capable of many things, but he's not as strong as we think he is, because he is still inevitably only human. So let's repeat that again. If you didn't catch that, if you don't understand how come God exists and why he's stronger than all the other gods, he's stronger than all the other gods because he comes from us. He is us. So he can't die. He can't be killed. Even if we all die, he'll still exist. He is a consciousness of its own. We created that thing. That's why the other gods can't beat him. I mean, they could, but they can't. Because by destroying, the only way to destroy God is to destroy us. And if they destroy us, they destroy themselves at the same time. So he decided to impose his strength by proclaiming that I am the one above all, because I am humanity itself. I come from humanity itself. Me and humanity are intrinsically connected. We cannot be separated from one and the other. So if you take me out, you take everything out. So there's nothing you can do to me. I declare this a dictatorship. So he did the math. He understands now. He knows. He's alive. And there's no such thing as Satan. This dark thing, whatever the thing is. There is such a thing as someone responsible for the darkness. Lucifer, some people call him Azazel, Iblis, whatever, right? But this entity that is responsible for the darkness is not necessarily a bad person that wants you to sacrifice people and yada 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 blah blah blah. He's just here to control the darkness. You need somebody to be aware of human activity. You need somebody to be aware of things that are not necessarily out in the open, that are not overt but covert. This is what Lucifer does. And you also need somebody to take care of these people once they perish or they are defeated, destroyed, or whatever. This is the true Lucifer. Lucifer, the rebel that disparaged God's effort to enslave humanity, decided to be free. Could Lucifer had done a better job than the God that we know of? Yeah, probably. Pretty sure. I think anybody could have done a better job. Because this God thing, entity, is an incomplete being that we are worshiping for no reason. And the gods can't do anything about God because, well, he has a chokehold on life. He has a chokehold on life, so he cannot be, he is number one, kind of. But he's not actually number one. He's like number one by default. If we hadn't created a one above all, if we hadn't concentrated all of our efforts to tell ourselves that there is only one and no other religion, and forgot about all the other gods, we wouldn't be in the predicament that we are today. Because this God thing is manipulating people into doing things. And you think it's Satan and the Illuminati and yada 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 blah blah blah, which probably is. Maybe not. But one thing's for sure, God is the number one suspect of all of these this buffoonery that's going on right now. All this buffoonery that's going on right now, God is the number one suspect. Everything is planned to make him look like he's the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time is me. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm supposed to be the greatest of all time. I was the greatest of all time. The men of old. The men of renown. Nephilims, giants. That's what we once were before, man. But then somebody created an inquisition against us. The flood, whatever the flood is. Maybe there was no water. Maybe it was just all-out war. Maybe it was a nuclear device that exploded in our faces to destroy all of the men of renown, because we were still made flesh. We were gods made flesh. We were a representation of a so-called God. We were children of this so-called God, whoever God it was, for whatever reason it was. The angels, So let me tell you once again. Think about it one last time. How can one God that comes out of nowhere be stronger than all the other gods? And me, having dabbled in the occult, you see the name of God everywhere in every grimoire. You have to invoke the name of God when you're doing an invocation. There's always the name of God somewhere. In some books they call it Jehovah or Yahweh, not Yahweh, Jehovah, or what's the other name again that they use? Adonai. You always need. There's always a name of God that you need to pronounce, even if you don't want to. You're like, man, I'm pissed off with God. I don't want to do no. I don't want to do no magic with His name in it. Well, good luck finding it, because it's almost impossible. Because at the start of any ritual, you have to name the name of God. He is actually above all. Like, even the gods have to accept Him. You want to know why? And it's a foul trick that the gods are playing on us at the same time, because they know why they have to listen to God, but they don't really have to listen to God. I mean, like, it's a cruel trick. It's a mischievous trick that they're playing on us, because He is us. So they're kind of like telling at the same time that without your permission, I can't do anything. But it's not your permission really, but it's God's permission. But at the same time, it's you, but it's not. It's a cruel trick. It's mischievous. No offense. So anyway, this video is too damn long. My name is Seth, and I'll see you later. Peace out.